Makovic, and this is the minute. Evacuation orders issued in the Santa Cruz Mountains. This is for the area of Felton Grove. Flooding is expected along the San Lorenzo River. A temporary evacuation point has been set up at Scotts Valley Community Center. Evacuation warnings are in effect for nearby areas. Flooding already impacting some Bay Area neighborhoods this morning, including this one in Gilroy. This video was taken on Wren Avenue by Ronan a little after 6 o'clock. You can see the water up to the bottom of some cars and up the sidewalks because of the heavy rain. And check out these huge waves this morning in Pacifica. Dangerous surf is hitting all beaches along the coast. A high surf warning is going to go into effect later this afternoon. It's according to the National Weather Service. They say waves could reach up to 45 feet through tomorrow. The Bay Area's only primetime newscasts at 8 and 9 p.m. on Pix Plus, 44 Cable 12.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
It's a first alert weather day here in the Bay Area as we're dealing with strong winds and heavy rain all throughout our communities. Now this morning it was slick out there on the roads. We are catching a break as we head into that 9, 10, 11 o'clock hour, but we're gearing up for heavier showers into the afternoon hours with thunderstorm activity expected throughout the afternoon and evening hours tonight. Now with this, we could see some localized flooding as these showers sweep off into the east. At the same time, we're seeing wind gusts up to around 80 miles per hour along the coast at times, about 50 mile per hour winds just in our inland areas. We start to watch these showers move off into the east and clear up into the overnight hours tonight. Advancing the clock to 10 o'clock, we're still not out of the clear just yet, but it does look more promising as we head into our Friday morning forecast with cloudy skies widespread throughout the Bay Area and some lingering light pockets of showers. In total, from now until then, we can see close to around an inch of rain still up near Santa Rosa, all the way off into communities like Oakland, with pretty impressive rainfall totals down into the Santa Clara Valley, topping off just around a half an inch. Now at the same time, we're seeing very gusty wind conditions. Pushing in from offshore, we can see wind speeds on average around 30 to 40 miles per hour, but we could still see those additional gusts really adding up as we head into the next 24 hours. So we take a look at the next 7 days past the 24-hour mark, and we start to see a little bit more promising conditions, at least as we head into Saturday and Sunday with drier conditions on the back end of this weekend. And into early next week we go. We're sitting in the low 60s with partly cloudy skies, but not a drop of rain in sight. We're clearing up after this atmospheric river comes to an end today and tomorrow. It's going to be a great but cool weekend with a lot of recovery for our neighbors. You're going to want to keep a close eye on them as we head into this weekend's forecast. By next week, we see warmer temperatures too.
Well, this storm has prompted evacuation orders for parts of Santa Cruz County. This is for the Felton Grove neighborhood, as well as College, Holohan, Grimmer, and Lakeview Road areas north of Watsonville. People are being told to evacuate immediately and move to higher ground. People in the Beth Drive and Paradise Park areas are now under evacuation warnings. Officials are concerned that the rising San Lorenzo River could overflow, threatening low-lying communities with potential flooding. Our Veronica Macias is in Felton Grove, which is under that evacuation.
When we arrived here along River Road, we saw signs advising people of the potential for flooding on this Thursday morning. Close to 8 a.m. we saw sheriff deputies arriving, and right now we can see people are following the orders, leaving this area. This road runs right along the San Lorenzo River, and people here say it's the highest they've seen all year. Close to 8 a.m. we saw several deputies arriving, going door to door, asking people to move to higher ground. We did talk to one gentleman who says he was preparing, moving his vehicles out of the way. This area also prone to flooding. 2 years ago, it flooded pretty badly. The man led us into his home. His name is Eric, and he showed us what it looked like.
Yeah, it's just been sitting there. That's right before it comes in the garage right here.
So this is what it looked like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's right before it comes in the garage. You just never know when it's going to stop, you know? And then here it is. Here's my little gate.
I mean, it has to be expensive, right?
It didn't do that much damage, amazingly. Like I said, the house is built so that it can come into the garage. I have to move everything. I have to move all this stuff.
Some residents here along River Road moving to higher ground by simply going upstairs if they have that second-story floor. However, authorities reminding people you're not only putting your life at risk, you're also putting the lives of fire personnel, authorities' lives at risk if they have to come out and rescue you.
To the North Bay, where those downpours came down hard in Santa Rosa early this morning. You can see how that rain flooded some intersections. That's near Corby Avenue. And in Sonoma County, an evacuation warning is in place for low-lying areas along the Russian River from unincorporated Healdsburg to Jenner. People there are still recovering from the previous storm, which caused a home to slide into the river. As Kenny Choi reports, they are bracing for more rain as well as a construction project. It could cause more major delays.
Nee Haas works in the tasting room and is the wine club manager at Motion Vineyards. The landslide in Forestville, triggering a house to tumble into the Russian River on February 4th, led to longer commutes.
By the time I got home, it had been about 55 minutes, and my commute is normally only 13 minutes.
One of 3 access points to the vineyard, West Side Road, is closed indefinitely as portions of it crumbled into the river. It's not just residents impacted.
I still haven't seen UPS. Normally they get here around 1 or 2, but I can imagine the road closures affecting them as well.
Wineries are already facing challenging times with sharp decreases in demand. Rick Motion, a former teacher, is the owner and winemaker at Motion Vineyards in the heart of prime Pinot country.
The West Side Road is the middle reach, so that's where you have most of the well-known Pinot producers, all within 5 miles of this location.
The second access point to the vineyard and other homes is the historic Wohler Bridge, but it's set to undergo a major seismic retrofit in April.
If our trucks and our barrel trucks and our glass trucks can't get through Wohler Bridge, they're going to have to go all the way up on the freeway to Healdsburg and turn around and come 10 miles down to windy, 2-lane windy road, which is dangerous for them, dangerous for us, and a lot of bicyclists are on the road.
The pending bridge closure would mean a major detour and a 1-hour commute for Guerneville residents who would have to travel all the way north to Healdsburg and back. Motion is hoping the county can delay the bridge project.
That way, be easier access for our employees and for customers that want to get here.
But delaying the retrofit would jeopardize $17 million in funding and poses a safety hazard, according to Sonoma County Supervisor Linda Hopkins. She's fighting to approve a temporary Bailey Bridge that would reduce commute times for businesses and residents.
It's a really unfortunate to have these 2 infrastructure challenges right next to each other.
Hopkins says the temporary bridge will cost $300,000. Any fix besides shutting 2 arteries would be welcomed by residents surrounding vineyards and employees.
I live around here, and even I was confused this morning on what to do next.
For Nee, she's hoping for a timely solution to address already longer commutes because of storm-related closures and what now looks like even longer ones ahead.
People in Southern California are once again bracing for the possibility of mudslides and flash floods in some of those areas that were recently burned by wildfires. Evacuation warnings have already been issued in Altadena. Dozens of homes there near a hillside could be at risk of landslides. Public Works crews put out sandbags in anticipation of that rain. People living in the burn scar areas in the Palisades are facing the same problem today. Evacuation warnings are in effect, and the first round of rain yesterday already left its mark. The runoff started to spill onto the roads. People whose homes are still standing now worry what today's heavy rain might bring.
A lot of the houses without the vegetation around them that have burned off could slide down the hill very easily.
Caltrans has also put K-rails and sandbags along the Pacific Coast Highway, trying to protect homes in front of some of those very steep slopes. The storm is bringing heavy snowfall to the Sierra. Winter storm warning has been issued near Tahoe. Officials are warning that driving could be almost impossible at times, with nearly 5 inches of snow expected in the next few days. Dave Grassoff from CBS News Sacramento has been driving carefully through some dangerous whiteout conditions today.
And yeah, I was on Donner Pass Road a little bit ago. I just hopped on the westbound direction of I-80. I'm heading back down the mountain now towards Kingvale, and you can see it's still really dumping. I mean, people have been saying, hey, make sure you drive safe up there. I mean, one good thing for me is the big rigs aren't being allowed over the summit. So yeah, there's still cars on the roadway, but the big rigs are not. They are being stopped at Applegate due to traction issues in the Sierra. And of course, I ran into that a little earlier this morning. This is by the Donner Lake interchange right here. there was one big rig that stopped for whatever reason, and then the big rigs behind it, they're carrying a full load of cargo, and so then trying to get the vehicle going again on these slick roads wasn't happening, and so yeah, there was a little bit of a log jam up there.
We've got you covered with the very latest as this atmospheric river makes its way through the Bay Area and across the state. You can find the latest anytime on our website and streaming on the free CBS News app. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, the Bay Area gearing up for All-Star Weekend as law enforcement steps up security in San Francisco and Oakland. People living there are saying this should have happened sooner.
You guys want to clean it up because people are coming here now for an event, to bring money. But what about us who live here every single day?
Plus, a critically understaffed police department as thousands of tourists come into town. We sit down with San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie, but he says he is not calling for backup.
But right now, we feel like we have things under control.
And it is a parking war in one North Bay neighborhood. The so-called solution that seems to be pitting neighbor versus neighbor.
It's the first alert weather day here in the Bay Area as this atmospheric river brings in heavy rain and winds widespread throughout our communities. We're under flood watches and high wind warnings along our coastline with wind advisories in our inland spots. We can see gusts today up to around 60 to 80 miles per hour as this heavy rain continues to fall, with thunderstorm activity expected throughout the afternoon hours today too. You take a look at Friday, that's when it starts to taper off, and then suddenly we're diving into this weekend's forecast with sunnier skies in the forecast at times and at least drier conditions. We'll keep you updated on that here in the Weather Center.
Well, today's severe weather already interrupting NBA All-Star Week events in San Francisco. There was a planned tip-off party tonight at Thrive City, and it has been canceled. The people who are organizing it, though, are still hoping that people are going to show up to support some of the businesses at Thrive City instead, and they can stay inside. It is the Bay Area's first time hosting the game in more than 2 decades, with thousands of basketball fans flying in to catch all the action. Pretty good news for people who own businesses here. One pop-up bar hosted a pre-party last night for fans already in town, and he's got an all-star wish list.
My main hope is that maybe some of the players, some of the wives, some of the entourage will come in and enjoy a Hennessy drink.
SFMTA has already started shutting down roads around Chase Center and Thrive City. More than 200,000 visitors are expected in town this weekend. And it's not just San Francisco getting in on the all-star activities. Oakland's Arena is hosting a few events as well. The city is working with community groups to clean up the Hagenberger corridor near the arena. And the police department says it is sending more officers to patrol the area. Our Katie Nielsen talked to people who ask, why does it take special events to get the city to do something?
Driving along the Hagenberger corridor in East Oakland near the Coliseum, it's obvious there's an effort underway to put the city's best foot forward.
You know, when I am driving, I do see that the streets are kind of clear, even with they had a whole bunch of trailers and stuff like that. I can see that they are making a difference.
Michelle Beachman was born and raised in Oakland and still lives in the east part of town. She also works at an office only a few blocks from the Coliseum. She says she's frustrated it took the NBA All-Star Weekend for the city to address some of the issues residents have been complaining about for years.
You guys want to clean it up because people are coming here now for an event, you know, to bring money. But what about us who live here every single day? Those people are going to be here for the weekend and then they're going to go home. You know, while we're stuck with it, it's going to go back to how it was.
The city, along with community partners like AASEG, the ownership group trying to buy the Coliseum property, as well as PG&E and some local motorcycle clubs, have organized cleanups to pick up trash in the area. Plus, the city has also fixed dozens of broken streetlights. And, of course, there will be greater police presence.
That is one of the strategies we want to put in place, is to have enough officers out there so people not only feel safe, but they see the presence of law enforcement and know they can't just come in and commit, frivolous crime throughout the city during these events.
Oakland Police, along with the Alameda County Sheriff's Department, BART PD, and CHP will have additional staff in the Coliseum area as well as downtown, plus in areas historically known for sideshow gatherings.
There will be traffic enforcement in areas where we see bad actors. We're not going to be specific for sideshow, but we will be specific for people that are speeding, running stop signs, or engaging in sideshow.
Residents like Michelle say they just wish this kind of engagement could happen year-round and not just during special events.
And people are scared to come here, like Oakland has such a bad reputation now, and we're such a beautiful city, and it's just unfortunate.
Community groups are hosting another cleanup session along the corridor today, ahead of the big game tomorrow and the HBCU Classic on Saturday. The cities of Oakland and San Francisco obviously want to put on their best faces with everybody watching. Those cities have struggled with their image on the national stage, especially when it comes to anything related to public safety. Our Lauren Tom sat down with San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie and asked him about his expectations and challenges for police officers trying to keep the city safe.
Mayor Daniel Lurie has been on the job for just 5 weeks before the city is thrust into the national spotlight for the NBA All-Star Weekend.
Great to see you.
And when I sat down with him, he shared one message to those questioning the city's readiness.
You're going to be safe and secure in San Francisco.
And this is just the beginning. After the All-Star Weekend, San Francisco will host some of the biggest sporting events on the planet. The FIFA World Cup later this year and Super Bowl 60 next year. And for an avid sports fan like Lurie, the timing couldn't be better.
It's an honor to be mayor at this time, and it's an exciting opportunity for our city, and we get to show off to the world that what we all know. What we know here in San Francisco is that when we're at our best, we are the greatest city in the world.
But a bigger stage brings bigger challenges. San Francisco's police department remains critically understaffed. And despite this, Lurie tells me the city will not be calling in additional officers from neighboring counties. Instead, current SFPD officers will be on duty around the clock throughout the weekend.
All days off are gone for the weekend, so SFPD will be out in full force. Everyone's on standby. CHP has offered support if we need it, but right now we feel like we have things under control, but we're always ready and willing to call our partners.
And the crowd won't be limited to just basketball fans. San Francisco will also welcome thousands for 4 days of Lunar New Year celebrations starting Thursday. Lurie says safety is a top priority, but SFPD can't do it alone.
We're a major city, and so, just be aware. If you're walking down a city block in New York or in Miami, just be aware.
With the spotlight on, the city has a chance to showcase its best, and Lurie says it won't disappoint.
Being in the national spotlight is what we are built for. So come on out, enjoy, and welcome to San Francisco.
For anyone that needs to get around the city for the NBA All-Star Game or the Chinese New Year's Parade, Muni is offering free service Saturday and Sunday. The only exception will be, of course, for the cable cars, which still require that $8 fare. Reroutes are going to be in place for both events. We have all the details for you on our website, kpix.com. Still ahead, parking in one North Bay community is at a premium. Now, the city's solution seems to have both neighbors and visitors not happy.
The neighborhood is fired up about it. Yes, it is.
Never give up, baby.
Showers start to form and accumulate just into our areas. Now that moves off to the east. We're going to see light to moderate showers throughout the 3 and 4 o'clock hour, continuing to move in that same direction. We'll catch breaks at times, but as this is happening, we're starting to add up these rainfall totals. We can see anywhere up to around 2 to 3 inches of rain from this exact system that you see right here. And into the overnight hours tonight, the timestamp's just above my head, we're going to start seeing it slowly clear up. Into our Friday forecast we go. Cloudy skies, light showers still in the forecast. As those showers continue to track off into the east, we're starting to kind of get our first breath of fresh air, really, as we head into the afternoon and evening hours tomorrow night. But those clouds still hold on tight to us, even as we head into this weekend. We're going to come to an end with those flood watches, warnings, and advisories throughout the Bay Area as we head into our overnight hours tonight. We're going to see better conditions heading into this weekend, and by next week, this is the light at the end of the tunnel that we'll see heading into the weekend's forecast. But for now, that cool and cloudy setup that you see behind me, that's the trend all throughout the Bay Area.
Well, we all know that finding a parking space can be a real challenge in a lot of spots around the Bay Area, and it's particularly difficult in one area of East San Rafael. Homeowners have been complaining for years about outsiders filling their streets with cars. So the city has come up with a plan for parking permits, but as John Ramos reports, it has the neighborhood up in arms.
This is Spinnaker Point, an area of upscale homes in San Rafael where the streets are jammed with cars from another neighborhood nearby. The city's trying to do something about it, but nobody seems very thrilled with the solution they've come up with. The real problem is here in the Canal District, an area of dense, low-income housing where there simply aren't enough spaces for all the cars. So they end up parking in the adjacent Spinnaker, Bay Point, and Bahia neighborhoods, which have a 24-hour time limit for parking.
They have no place to park, so they bring their trucks and their cars over here. And then they have some kind of system, and they've got it down pretty well, where they move cars all the time.
Bonnie Smolin has lived with the problem for 10 years and has learned to park in front of her home on garbage day so there is room for her trash bins. But as we were speaking, a man in a work van moved her bin onto the sidewalk so he could park in the space.
We need to have a space to park to put our garbage on a Wednesday because...
So should I parallel park in here? Well, what should I do? Should I park in the red zone?
He ended up moving someone else's garbage cans and parked in front of their house. It's an absurd situation, so the city is proposing a permit parking plan that would restrict who could be in the neighborhood. Each home would be eligible for one permit at a cost of about $200 per year, linked to the car's license number. Additional permits could be purchased for parking in a commercial zone a considerable distance away. But to the neighbors, there's a glaring problem. The Canal District and other neighborhoods are all lumped into the same zone, so anyone with a permit could still park wherever they want.
It's stupid because it links their neighborhood with our neighborhood, so it will do nothing to relieve the congestion that we currently have.
Because they're going to need a permit there as well as here.
They'll get a permit to park in our parking spots, yes.
But what if someone was having a guest over for dinner? Assistant City Manager John Stefanski explains the plan.
Right now, we're anticipating that individual homeowners will be able to purchase a guest pass several days in advance of guests coming over, but that's something that's still currently under development.
So in other words, if you have somebody that comes for dinner and they need to park on the street, you have to get a permit ahead of time, city, and pay $10 is what the proposal is. That,
Have you ever heard of anything like that?
No, never.
The city says it is trying to balance the complaints of the homeowners with the needs of lower income people, so the solution has become a bit complicated.
Our consultant that we're working with does this work nationally, and they have found this to be one of the more challenging projects.
They're trying, but it's like shooting at a target and hitting the haystack instead of the bullseye.
Today was supposed to be the deadline for neighbors to submit their opinions in an online survey, but the city says it has extended that date to February 21st. They say nothing has been decided, and they're willing to listen to anything the public has to say.
Coming up in our next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, we are continuing to track this atmospheric river making its way throughout the state. We're going to show you the conditions today in Los Angeles, where people who evacuated during the wildfires are having to evacuate yet again. Plus, BART's new fare gates spreading quickly across the system. But how well do they actually stop fare jumpers? Well, apparently it depends on who you ask.
Come back, and I think quickly you will see the difference.
But I have had people try to kind of sneak in behind me and definitely sneak out behind me.
I'm Ann Makovic, and this is the Minute. Evacuation orders in the Santa Cruz Mountains. This is in the area of Felton Grove. Flooding is expected along the San Lorenzo River. A temporary evacuation point has been set up at Scotts Valley Community Center. Evacuation warnings are in effect for nearby areas. The rain really came down early this morning and flooded some intersections across the Bay Area, including one in Santa Rosa. This is near Corby Avenue. This video taken at around 2 this morning. You can also see how powerful the winds were there overnight. The storm also flooding some freeways early this morning. A pool of water there on westbound 580 in Oakland. Several cars driving through those flooded lanes. This is near Beaumont Avenue. The video taken at around 4 this morning. The Bay Area's only primetime newscasts at 8 and 9 p.m. on Pix Plus, 44 Cable 12.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
It's a first alert weather day here in the Bay Area as we're dealing with strong winds and heavy rain all throughout our communities. Now this morning it was slick out there on the roads. We are catching a break as we head into that 9, 10, 11 o'clock hour, but we're gearing up for heavier showers into the afternoon hours with thunderstorm activity expected throughout the afternoon and evening hours tonight. Now with this, we could see some localized flooding as these showers sweep off into the east. At the same time, we're seeing wind gusts up to around 80 miles per hour along the coast at times, about 50 mile per hour winds just in our inland areas. We start to watch these showers move off into the east and clear up into the overnight hours tonight. Advancing the clock to 10 o'clock, we're still not out of the clear just yet, but it does look more promising as we head into our Friday morning forecast with cloudy skies widespread throughout the Bay Area and some lingering light pockets of showers. In total, from now until then, we can see close to around an inch of rain still up near Santa Rosa, all the way off into communities like Oakland with pretty impressive rainfall totals down into the Santa Clara Valley, topping off just around a half an inch. Now at the same time, we're seeing very gusty wind conditions. Pushing in from offshore, we can see wind speeds on average around 30 to 40 miles per hour, but we could still see those additional gusts really adding up as we head into the next 24 hours. So we take a look at the next 7 days past the 24-hour mark, and we start to see a little bit more promising conditions, at least as we head into Saturday and Sunday with drier conditions on the back end of this weekend. And into early next week we go. We're sitting in the low 60s with partly cloudy skies, but not a drop of rain in sight. We're clearing up after this atmospheric river comes to an end today and tomorrow. It's going to be a great but cool weekend with a lot of recovery for our neighbors. You're going to want to keep a close eye on them as we head into this weekend's forecast. By next week, we see warmer temperatures too.
Well, dangerous surf pounding the beaches in Pacifica. National Weather Service says the entire coastline could see waves up to 45 feet high through tomorrow.
They're a lot bigger than they were yesterday. Yesterday it was almost like a bay here, and now it's just the opposite. But I stay out of the ocean.
Yeah, the National Weather Service is warning everybody to do the same. In Marin County, swift water rescue and search teams are on patrol right now looking for people stranded in the water. They're also being cautious of the winds, saying they're not taking any chances.
The last storm that we had, a number of vehicles that did not heed the signage on the roadways and drove around the signage and got themselves in a predicament where we had to deploy our water rescue resources, boats and rafts in to pull those people out of the vehicles.
Emergency responders say, if possible, stay off the roads, especially if you see any standing water and can't tell how deep it might be. In Southern California, people living in areas ravaged by wildfires are being told once again to evacuate, this time for a different reason. The rain is pouring down, and that could trigger life-threatening mudslides and debris flow. CBS News correspondent Carter Evans reports from the Pacific Palisades.
So people are being told to stay away, and for good reason. Let me give you an example of what they're concerned about. If you look over to my left here, you can see this burned out hillside, and there are actually still some trees left on this hillside, and that's better condition than most. But you see all that dirt there?
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to make that slide down. And as we pan back over here, you're going to see on my other side, there's a church right there. And so this is what it's like all over the Palisades. Homes nestled in these little canyon areas. And for the most part, the vegetation has just been vaporized. So there is literally nothing to hold the dirt onto the hillside. And if we get rain rates of about a ½ inch an hour, that's what it takes, that can and will cause mudslides. So I believe that it is highly likely that we will see some sort of mudslide or debris flow this afternoon in the LA County area and the burn scars.
Again, you can always get the very latest as this atmospheric river makes its way through the Bay Area. Just head to our website, kpix.com, or check out the free CBS News app. In Alameda County, a toxicology report has found drugs and alcohol present in all 3 of the young college students who died in last year's fiery Cybertruck crash in Piedmont. According to that report, their blood alcohol level was more than double the legal limit. That report also shows tests showed the presence of cocaine and meth. A smoke cloud that stretched for miles during the fire at the Martinez refinery contained cancer-causing chemicals, plus other harmful byproducts. That is according to the Contra Costa County Health Department. That fire happened almost 2 weeks ago. The good news is that the county's health officer says the wind blew most of that toxic smoke away from people, and they don't believe there's a significant health risk. We did hear from someone who works across from the refinery. He was there the day that fire broke out.
A lot of workers came running out this way because they told us to evacuate. I smelled it. It was kind of weird, the smell, but I started coughing a little bit. That's why I left pretty quick too.
There is an ongoing independent investigation to try to figure out how this fire started and how to prevent it from happening again. In San Francisco, BART celebrating a milestone with the installation of its new fare gates. The project is key to the agency's effort to try to lure back riders concerned about crime. The total cost of that project is $90 million. Those new gates have been installed at 18 of the system's 50 stations. As Wilson Walker shows us, the new gates may already be making a difference. And for anyone still trying to piggyback through, well, that free ride is going to get tougher.
The milestone is that BART has finished installing the new fare gates at all of the stations in downtown San Francisco. Now, are they impenetrable? No, but have they improved things on the system? BART says absolutely yes.
I just kind of started taking BART more often several months ago, and I haven't had a big problem with crime or with problems.
After some time apart, Christine Allen recently rekindled her relationship with Bay Area Rapid Transit. And as you just heard, she has few complaints.
If you have not ridden BART as much as you used to, I get it, the last couple of years have been challenging, but come back and I think quickly you will see the difference.
BART and its boosters say the agency is riding on some momentum. A year and a half after rider surveys found broad frustration about conditions within the system, BART says feedback is improving and so are the raw numbers.
BART's crime rate for 2024 was down 17% compared with the previous year. Violent crime dropped 11%. The total number of property crimes declined by more than 500 events.
There's 2 pieces on BART's, in my mind, on BART's fiscal cliff, right, I can do. One is the discussions with Sacramento and a regional measure, right? But the other one is these new fare gates and lighting and presence in the system to drive our ridership up. And
General Manager Bob Power says changing minds is critical to survival, and it's taking a little bit of everything to improve ridership. And as for the new gates, yes, the agency is aware of one vulnerability.
They work pretty well, but I have had people try to kind of sneak in behind me and definitely sneak out behind me, people who haven't paid.
So I know exactly what you're talking about, the piggybacking, right? I go through the gate right now, it's 1002, and you could slide in behind me, right? We're gonna tune that down, right? We know that. But what you don't want to do when you do something is get 1 or 2 gates in and start messing with them and taking your mind off the other, installations. So now that we have a critical mass and we're going to fine tune them so that when I go through, it's 1000, bam, that gate closes, right?
There you go. Don't get too comfortable with the rhythm of those doors. They're going to start moving faster. The next stop in the installation process is Berkeley, then on to Orinda. And the entire system should be finished by the end of this year.
BART officials say they wanted to get these gates up in time for NBA All-Star Weekend. They say all 4 stations in downtown San Francisco will be the gateway to welcoming thousands of visitors. Coming up next, a new spin on classic soul food. We're going to introduce you to a pioneering chef from Oakland who shows us some simple swaps that can make a real big difference.
What I see on this plate is who I am. It's what we do. It's how we show up.
It's the first alert weather day here in the Bay Area as this atmospheric river brings in heavy rain and winds widespread throughout our communities. We're under flood watches and high wind warnings along our coastline with wind advisories in our inland spots. We can see gusts today up to around 60 to 80 miles per hour as this heavy rain continues to fall, with thunderstorm activity expected throughout the afternoon hours today too. You take a look at Friday, that's when it starts to taper off, and then suddenly we're diving into this weekend's forecast with sunnier skies in the forecast at times and at least drier conditions. We'll keep you updated on that here in the Weather Center.
Well, today, the Warriors and San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie kicked off festivities for NBA All-Star Weekends.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, that was the ribbon-cutting ceremony this morning at Powell and O'Farrell in Union Square, an area designated as NBA All-Star Alley. Beginning today, pop-up shops with NBA themes are opening up, along with a custom basketball court, and that's not all.
You could take some photos with championship trophies. There's going to be DJ performances. I hope you all brought your dancing shoes. It's going to be in collaboration with Golden State Entertainment.
NBA All-Star Alley will be up through Sunday, just in time for All-Star Weekend. McClymonds High in Oakland is dedicating a new gymnasium to one of its most successful alumni, the late NBA legend Bill Russell. Russell graduated from McClymonds in 1952. He went on to win 2 NCAA championships and 11 NBA titles. That's the most by any player. He's also made history as the NBA's first black head coach and was a key figure in the civil rights movement. Russell's family, including his widow Janine Russell, and daughter Karen Kenyatta Russell, shared how deeply he valued his connection to McClymonds.
I think Bill would be very proud. He had a lifelong relationship with this school. He kept coming back to give more.
Well, the Russell family hopes this dedication inspires future generations of McClymonds athletes by carrying on his legacy of excellence, leadership, and service. We are celebrating Black History Month with something that's cooking in Oakland. Chef Renee's soul food is served with a focus on nutrition. But as our Lauren Tom shows us, there is no sacrificing flavor.
Ooh, look at this.
There's something special happening in this kitchen, a kind of magic that evokes memories and brings flavors to life.
I think that keeping that tradition of the love has helped me keep the love of the food.
For Chef Renee Johnson, cooking isn't just about food, it's about love. And for many in the Oakland community, it's about access to a healthier way of life.
They're picking greens and peeling yams because we make some of the best candy yams ever.
Her passion for soul food can be felt in every dish she prepares. Soul food has always meant comfort, but in Black communities where diabetes rates are often higher, that comfort can come at a high cost. Black adults are nearly 1.5 times more likely to develop diabetes as white adults, according to the CDC. But through her catering, Blackberry Soul, Chef Renee is determined to keep the soul in her food, but with a healthier twist.
I try to make sure people don't get afraid of the word healthy. I think that it can sound unattainable. I think that it can sound like it's a lot of work. And so I want to make sure that people know that healthy is not the word that we use. What we use is real.
Every meal she serves is made with fresh, real ingredients, honoring tradition while helping her community make healthier choices without sacrificing flavor.
Those are real greens. Those are not bagged greens. Those are real candy yams. Those are not canned yams. So we use real food. And so when I'm servicing the community and when I'm teaching parents to cook, I'm telling them, okay, take the word healthy out. Let's just do real.
Making a simple shift to real whole foods can lead to real change. Experts say that simple swaps in the kitchen can make a big difference, especially for children at risk for diabetes.
There are so many ways cooking with whole foods, especially when it's a variety of whole plant foods, can benefit health, reduce risk for chronic diseases, especially diabetes, which in certain populations and Black populations can be experienced in greater rates and proportionally to other backgrounds.
From red beans and rice to collard greens and candied yams, she's finding ways to make classic soul food healthier without losing the flavors that bring people together. But there's one recipe she just can't change, a classic mac and cheese.
I have yet to find one that just makes me say, oh my God, I gotta have some more. And I've tried to make 1,000 of them and none of them, and I make them good. So I have no secret for it.
It's good for the soul. And for Chef Renee, food is more than just fuel. It's a way to connect, to teach, and to pass down love through generations.
What I see on this plate is who I am. It's what we do. It's how we show up.
In every dish, Chef Renee is not just serving food, she's nourishing the soul of her community, one healthier bite at a time.
Chef Renee's next event is the Soul Food Battle Stroll of the Generations, happening March 16th in Oakland. It's a family-friendly event celebrating food, music, and culture. You can buy tickets through the Blackberry Soul Catering website. And be sure to watch our special celebrating Black History Month. It's coming up next Thursday at 7:30 on KPIX and also streaming on the free CBS News app. Coming up, he made it his mission to revive a once thriving art scene. The event this San Francisco artist says ruined the city's music culture.
It destroyed the inner culture, the inner wisdom, the music, the poetry.
going to see more heavier showers start to form and accumulate just into our areas. Now that moves off to the east. We're going to see light to moderate showers throughout the 3 and 4 o'clock hour, continuing to move in that same direction. We'll catch breaks at times, but as this is happening, we're starting to add up these rainfall totals. We could see anywhere up to around 2 to 3 inches of rain from this exact system that you see right here. And into the overnight hours tonight, the timestamp's just above my head, we're going to start seeing it slowly clear up. Into our Friday forecast we go. Cloudy skies, light showers still in the forecast. As those showers continue to track off into the east, we're starting to kind of get our first breath of fresh air, really, as we head into the afternoon and evening hours tomorrow night. But those clouds still hold on tight to us, even as we head into this weekend. We're going to come to an end with those flood watches, warnings, and advisories throughout the Bay Area as we head into our overnight hours tonight. We're going to see better conditions heading into this weekend, and by next week, this is the light at the end of the tunnel that we'll see heading into the weekend's forecast. But for now, that cool and cloudy setup that you see behind me, that's the trend all throughout the Bay Area.
A native San Franciscan is working to grow the city's reputation as an epicenter for music by celebrating musicians of the past and supporting new artists for the future. Our Sharon Chin introduces us to this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award winner.
I just want to give to you the perfect gift today.
Rudy Colombini wrote this song for his native San Francisco. His perfect gift is music.
Because I love music. I mean, isn't it obvious? Enter hotel, hostel.
It is obvious as he gives us a tour of his pride and joy, Music City, San Francisco.
Come on in.
A $20 million renovated music machine, a maze of rooms and studios weave through a 5-story building on Bush Street.
Honoring the past by building the present.
And maybe you can come down the hall.
Rudy honors musical greats in his ever-expanding San Francisco Music Hall of Fame. He hopes to reverse the damage he says the dot-com boom has done to the city's musical heritage.
It was, good for the economic health of the city, although it destroyed the inner culture, the inner wisdom, the music, the poetry. The city needs its musicians to be catered to and cared for.
So in 2017, he formed Music City Entertainment, the nonprofit artist accelerator arm of Music City San Francisco.
Back here we have 2 more studios. These are really big ones.
It gives up-and-coming Bay Area musicians access to Music City's 20 state-of-the-art recording and rehearsal studios, 7 live performance stages, and small clubs. Jay Jackson says Music City's rehearsal spaces allow her to foster creativity, connection, and community.
Being able to come in and just showing the world what you can do and what you're capable of, and he gave us a space to do that, and I'm really grateful for that.
About 1,000 artists a year stay at Music City's hotel at discounted rates, and the nonprofit creates hundreds of commission-free gig opportunities, from the annual Free Songwriters Festival to the Fern Alley Music Series to special events like a concert benefiting those impacted by the Southern California fires. Austin Waz of Analog Dog says his band is one of many that got their start at Music City.
And I can tell you, Destroy Boys, No Vacation, Yeasayers has been in here. We've had acts that have, risen to the top of the scene. How you doing?
And Austin credits Rudy for changing their lives.
He had a dedication to a dream, and it fueled, personally, it was the beginning of my...
I want to be the super daddy of music in San Francisco. I was born to do that.
I just want to give to you the perfect gift today.
So for preserving San Francisco's musical past and growing opportunities for the future through Music City Entertainment, this week's CBS News Bay Area Icon Award goes to Rudy Colombini.
And if you want to nominate a local hero for a CBS News Bay Area Icon Award, go to our website, kpix.com/icon. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.